All right, guys, we're going to talk about the parallel lines challenge questions assignment that I gave y'all. There's a lot going on these problems. I am not going to work through every little detail here, but I am going to give you some big hints on how to get started and talk about the things people mess up pretty often. So like on this first picture, angle 1 and 4, let's start with that. If we mark angles 1 and 4, this is from chapter 1. If you were to connect these, we make that letter X. Those angles are exactly opposite each other. Those are vertical angles. So that has nothing to do with parallel lines. That's just one intersection. That's all from chapter 1. Those are vertical angles. And what do we know about the measures of vertical angles? They're always equal. So 1 and 4 are vertical angles. They're equal. 1 and 17. So 1 and 17 is a little trickier. Maybe you see it right away. That's fine. If you do, move on. But if you need to hear this, make sure you're listening, guys. We need to figure out what kind of angles they are. What I want you to do is, one of the things you can do is put little dots in there. We talked about this in the other video. Trace the angle. Trace the angle. Do they have a line in common? Yes. These dots can be connected. Now, what shape did we just kind of make? Like if I take those arcs out there, you can see a little bit better. But doesn't that kind of look like the upside down F, right? This type of shape is just upside down. And what do we know about the inside corners of the F? They're going to be corresponding angles. Also, another way you can know is if you were to draw the whole thing out, they're on the same side. This is the space between, right? So 17 is inside, 1 is outside. So if they're on the same side, 1 in and 1 out, that's when you have corresponding angles. So 1 and 17 are corresponding angles. Now the question is, when we made that letter F, right? We made the letter F. Were the bars of the F parallel to each other? And the answer is yes, because corresponding angles are not always parallel. Corresponding angles are not always equal. But if the lines are parallel, they are equal. We know that those corresponding angles are equal because they use parallel lines. All right, let's look at 10 and 11. 10 and 11, I'm going to go much quicker through the rest of these. It's the same idea, though. We trace 10, we trace 11. That makes the letter C. It's kind of backwards, but we have the inside corners of the letter C. And the inside corners of the letter C are supplementary if the lines are parallel. Are these parallel lines? Yes. So those are same side interior angles. They're on the same side, they're on the inside, and they're going to be supplementary. They add up to 180. The next set, 5 and 17. Trace 5, trace 17, connect them. We made the letter C again, but did we use parallel lines? Is this line parallel to this one? No, we did not use parallel lines. So yes, same side interior, their measures cannot be determined. CBD, cannot be determined. The only thing we know for sure is that they're not supplementary, because if they were supplementary, then they would be using parallel lines. 16 and 21, so here's 21, here's 16. This one's a little bit harder, but they connect here. So that's like, I don't know what you would call that, but there's not really like a good phrase or anything. It's not like it's a C or an F or a Z, but they're on different sides. Are they in the inside or outside? They're on the outside. Those are alternate exterior angles. Do they use parallel lines? Yes, they do. So they are equal. 3 and 21. Here's angle 3. Here's angle 21. Ooh, if I draw all of 3's lines, do I ever go down here? No. No, no, no. Guys, I could erase everything to do with angle 21. Angle 21 is gone. Angle 3 is fine. I know I kind of went through that line a little bit, but this is still here. Angle 3 is fine. 21 and 3 have no transversal. If you have no transversal, you have no relationship, and you definitely can't tell anything about their angles. 20 and 12, this one we mess up a lot. 20 is this one, 12 is this one, right? If you trace them, same situation. 20 goes this way and this way. We could go over here for 20. We could go down here for 20. But we can't do this. There's no line going that way. There's no transversal. There's going to be no relationship. Same idea as before. I could completely erase angle 12. It's gone. And 20 is just fine, guys. So you can't do that. No relationship. It's out of here. Which means, of course, cannot be determined. All right, next problem. I'm not going to do every little detail, but trace the angles. Trace, trace. Connect. What letter did we make? The letter C. So there's supplementary. 4x plus 10 plus 2.5x plus 105 have to add up to 180. Inside corners of the letter C, I got my parallel lines. That's what these little things mean. These are all parallel. So those are going to be supplementary angles. I'm not going to solve it for you. If I remember right, x equals 10. Yeah, x is going to be 10. But you got to be able to solve that. But those have to add up to 180. Okay, this one's a little bit trickier. Biggest mistake people make is they tell me these two angles are equal. Is that true? If you go this direction, do you have any parallel lines? No. Guys, I could erase all of this. Look, it's all gone. It's all gone. How many parallel lines are in that picture? Tell me. 0. If you thought 1, you're wrong. You can't have one parallel line. That's not a thing. There are no parallel lines. But these look parallel. I know they look parallel, but they didn't mark them parallel. I don't care what they look like, guys. The only ones marked parallel are the 3 horizontal lines. So if you are working this direction, these lines are not parallel. You can't do that. The 3 horizontal lines are parallel. So if the horizontal lines are parallel, then you have to go up and down to cross them. So you can go this way and you can go this way, but you can't go left and right. You have no parallel lines on the left side and the right side. You have to use parallel lines. So I'll give you a couple of strategies. One of the things I taught you guys early on is all the intersections are the same. Like that's 100, 100, 80, and 80. Well, they're going to all be that 100, 100, 80, and 80. That's one way that you could figure this out. Oops. 100, 80, and 80. Yep. So like 4a plus 120 has to equal 100. We know that. All of these intersections have to be the same. Now, that's not the only way to do that, but that's one way you could have gotten through that. Another way is by the tracing stuff we've been doing. So we've talked about tracing. Trace the 100. Trace this guy. Follow the transversal. There's the letter F. Those are corresponding angles. They're inside the letter F. They're going to be equal. Over here, you can do the same idea, right? Like this 75. This would be 105 and 105. Well, that's going to be the same angles in these spots. So like this one's going to be a 105. And this one's going to be a 75. So you could say 2x plus 11 equals 75. You could say 3y plus 6 equals 105. That's one way you could approach it. Or you could use tracings and things like that. Identify the angle types. If you trace here, those make the letter C. Those have to add up to 180. The other one's a little bit harder. But if you trace the 75 and trace this one, here's the connection. Those are alternate exterior angles. They're going to be equal. But no matter how you do it, you have to figure out those properties, my friends. You guys can solve those. Small angle plus small angle equals the whole thing. That is just the angle addition postulate. Small angle plus small angle equals the whole thing. You do need to know that. If it was segment plus segment equals the whole thing, that's segment addition postulate. All right, here's the one I love the most. So guys, listen. I can't stress this enough. The biggest mistake you will make when you take this quiz is you're going to focus on the things you want instead of the things you have. You're going to look at 1, 3, 6, 2, 4, 5. You're going to look at those and you're going to want them so bad, but you're focusing on the wrong thing. Just like in real life, focus on what you have, not on what you want. You'll be a lot happier. You have 60, 90, 50, and 40. There's where your eyeball should be going, but way too often you focus on these things you want instead of on the things you have. So we're going to work through this. There's more than one way to do it, but I'm just going to let you see the stuff I see first. I see an intersection with a 90, and I know vertical angles are equal. I know that linear pairs add up to 180. So if you know one corner of a four-way intersection, you got them all right away. So please be on the lookout for corners like that. That's a big deal. Another big thing to look out for, triangles. There's a triangle here. If that's 90 and 60, the third corner has to be 30. A triangle has to add up to 180. So you might be like, but we don't need that corner. I know it looks like we may not need it. I don't know if we need it. Maybe we never use that 30. Maybe we do. I don't care. We're going to get a lot of things we don't need in order to get the things that we want. And that happens in real life as well. Sometimes you got to do a lot of things you don't want or don't need to get the things you do want. So yeah, let's get it. Just because we don't know what we need right now. That's the big deal. We don't know what we need. Just get everything that you can using the things you have, and eventually you're going to get the things you want. What you can't do is look at this picture and just stare and hope you see something. You need to be actively looking for the things we've talked about. Intersections, we just did that. Triangles, we just did that. And then the new big dog, the new big thing from this chapter, parallel lines. I see 2 sets of parallel lines. You should be all over that on your quiz, guys. This top and bottom are parallel. They both have a single arrow. These 2 lines, this guy with the double arrow and this guy with the double arrow. So double arrow, so those are 2 sets of parallel lines. Use them. Go to the angles you have. Like when I show you guys this in class, somebody like, well, I'm trying to get 6. You can't get 6 right now. Stop focusing on 6. Look at the 60. Look at the 50. Look at the 40. Look at the angles that you actually have. And try to use these parallel lines. I'm going to go to the 60 here. I love the 60. I love it so much. You know why? Because one of its sides is one of my parallel lines. So what have I told you guys to do? Start on the parallel line and turn. Have I now traced the 60? Yes. The key there is start on the parallel line and turn. And then you keep going until you get to the line parallel to it. Do I stop here? No. This is not parallel. These are not parallel. I got to go to the blue one all the way and turn on blue. It's pretty big, but we just made the letter Z. The inside corners of the letter Z are going to be equal as long as, this is big, if you start on a parallel line and you end on a parallel line, you have properties. And alternate interior angles are going to be equal. Those are both 60. Once I see that, I'm like, oh, I see a triangle again. So that green triangle, this is going to be 80. 60 plus 40 is 100. That's going to be 80. Once I know the 80, I know this is 80. I know this is 100. I know this is 100. The second I know one corner, I know all 4. Please fill out the entire intersection. I see other things I can do. I see another triangle here with the 90, the 30, and the 80. So this has got to be 10. 90 plus 80 is 170. I didn't do it this way, but again, there's going to be more than one way to do lots of things. Could I have used this 40? Could I have started on the parallel line, turned, kept going until I hit the parallel line and turned? This whole corner had to be 40 because of that other 40. I didn't use that, but I could have. There's going to be more than one way to do a lot of things. Okay, so if you're just sitting and staring, then you're not doing what I'm asking you to do. Use the things I gave you. We haven't even talked about the 50. We haven't used the orange parallel lines at all. Use that stuff. It's not there for giggles. Should you go to the 4 and try to figure something? No, I don't know 4. Go to the angles you know. We know 50, and we actually know this 100 as well. So let's go over. I'm going to use the 50 here. What is so awesome about the 50? What do I love so much about it? It has one side that is a parallel line. That side is parallel to the other orange. So I start on the orange, I turn, and I keep going till I get to the other orange, the other parallel line. That's the letter C. Those are going to add up to 180. And now angle 5, there's a lot of ways I see that we can get angle 5. I could do the letter C using the 100. It's going to be 80. I could do the letter F using the 80. Or, isn't this a four-sided shape? How many degrees are in a four-sided shape? 360. So I could have added those up and subtracted from 360. Those are just 3 ways I see right off the top. There's more. I do see more, actually. But the most common one's probably going to be to use that 100, make the letter C, and know that it's 80. So that's a lot of good strategies. Guys, the quiz is going to have a similar problem. I don't think the one on the quiz is quite as hard, but it's the same stuff. Triangles, parallel lines, intersections, filling out everything you can. Please, please be intentional. Focus on the things that you have to get everything that you can, and eventually you'll have the things you want. Let's go.